Hari ini kita akan bicara mengenai prioritas survival. Prioritas survival yang based on military survival. Cara paling cepat untuk keluar dari situasi survival, the most fastest way to get out from the. Halo teman-teman, ketemu lagi dengan saya Coach Mike dari Survival Skills Indonesia. Hari ini saya berkesempatan ngopi lagi bersama Mr. Corin, ya. Dan tiap kita ketemu kita akan diskusi tentang survival, ya. Jadi seperti itu sebelumnya saya sudah jelaskan, Mr. Corin ini mantan tentara Inggris dan beliau seorang pelatih survival. Nah, berdasarkan pengalaman beliau di melatih di ketentaraan Inggris, nah, dan juga pengalaman beliau memimpin ekspedisi di pedalaman hutan Borneo, ya, dan di Maluku, itu beliau punya banyak pengalaman untuk di-share yang dapat kita petik ilmunya, ya. Oke, ya. Hari ini kita akan bicara mengenai prioritas survival, ya. Prioritas survival yang based on military survival, ya. Yang pertama, ya, kalau di sipil itu kita lihat ada namanya shelter, ya, ada shelter. Nah, di militer ada namanya protection, ya. Apa itu protection? Ada protection, location, acquisition, navigation, and medical. Nah, itu nanti kita minta penjelasan dari Mr. Corin. Ya, Mr. Corin, nice to meet you. Yeah.
See you again.
Yeah. And I have heard from you several weeks ago about the Plan M.
Yeah.
Yeah. The survival priorities. Yeah. The first is protection.
Yeah.
The second is location, and then acquisition,
Yeah.
navigation, and then medical. Yeah. Can you explain one by one what is protection?
Sure.
Yeah. What is location? What is acquisition? And what is navigation? And what is medical?
Yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, the concept of plan, I think, came from the British Army many years ago. It used to be called simply protection, location, water, and food, because protection covered first aid, location covered navigation. But they've made it a bit more sort of clear now. It's really to help people think when they're under pressure. It's like a very easy acronym to remember when you're maybe under duress and you have to think, what are my priorities? Because we don't always go into the jungle or the desert or the mountains planning to be in a survival situation. We're going there to take photographs or to be with our family or to climb the mountains. So survival situations are not very, upfront in our mind. But it's a very good acronym to follow, especially when you're doing survival training, because if you train alongside following this acronym, then it sticks in your memory, So P for protection. Protection is really broken down into three things. One is protection from immediate danger, and that means if you're in a vehicle and there's a landslide, a longsaw in front of you or behind you, okay, or maybe you're crossing a bridge and the bridge is about to get washed away by a flash flood. That's protection from that immediate danger. You need to get out of danger. Maybe there's a forest fire, okay. And as I'm talking about this, I'm thinking about a British Army survival instructor called Lofty Wiseman, who teaches this, over and over and over, and has been doing so for about the last 40 years and throughout his army career. And it's easy to remember this. You think about, what am I in danger of? Am I in danger of drowning? Am I in danger of being burnt? Am I in danger of an avalanche in the Arctic, in the mountains? Or is it a swarm of, aggressive bees like in Central America? Yeah. You have to get away from the immediate danger. And then you're looking at shelter from the elements, whether it's from the sun, protection from that, protection from heat or protection from cold, maybe a blizzard or cold weather and rain and wind. And then you need to, as part of protection, you need to think about creating fire, okay? Because fire can give you an awful lot of benefits in survival. It can keep you warm, it can boil water, it can cook food, it can prepare tools, it can signal for help, and it can give you psychological support. Yeah. So protection covers protection from immediate danger, protection from the elements, and creating fire as a tool for survival. Moving on to location, often the survival situation comes about because you don't know where you are. Maybe
Yeah.
you've taken a wrong turning in a track, or you've been caught out in bad weather and you've lost the ability to navigate. Maybe you've lost your map and your compass, and you don't actually know where you are. So you need to figure out where you are, but that's a little bit longer. The immediate thing you need to do is to start thinking, how can I attract attention to me? You know, how can I bring rescue in from land survival, aerial survival teams looking for me because my wife has reported me missing, or my friends have reported me missing when I'm 24 hours late, or maybe even 5-6 hours late coming home that night. So how do I make myself visible? You need to attract, you need to direct, and you need to hold the attention of rescuers, okay? And that can be done through visual signaling by day and by night, audible signaling, okay, or electronic signaling using a radio beacon or what have you. Location can also mean where am I, figuring out where I am, but we'll cover that in N for navigation. Acquisition. In a survival situation, you need to look at what resources you have with you. Do you have any survival equipment with you? Do you have a tent? Is it broken? Is it working? Do you have a cooker? Do you need to create fire? So acquisition is the priority is 3 days without water. You need to find a source of drinking water. And you need to know how to purify it too, so you can drink it without being ill. You need to think about food, because some people, especially if they're injured, okay, they're going to need water more than uninjured people. And if they're cold and they're wet, they're going to need a warm meal with calories and sugar to help their body. You're going to need firewood. And maybe if you're with a vehicle or an aeroplane, you can look in that fuselage or the wreckage for something that you can use to improvise, to make signaling or to make shelter or go hunting, collecting water. Then N for navigation. Navigation is trying to figure out where you are, because sometimes it might be quite easy. If it's dark and if it's foggy up in the mountains and you took a wrong turn, when did you take that wrong turn? Look at your watch and go, well, it was about an hour and a half ago. How fast was I moving? 2 kilometers an hour. So you've gone 2 and a little bit kilometers off the trail.
Yeah.
So it's quite simple really. At night you don't travel anywhere because it's too dark. If it's foggy, you just want to sit tight. You want to set up a hasty shelter for the night, and then in the morning try and find your track back. Navigation might be as simple as that. But if you've come down in a helicopter, or if you're in a 9-hour drive across Papua and you know really where you are, and your vehicle's broken down, you need to think about your location. What is off to the northeast, south and west of me? What does the geography tell me? Can I remember before I took off on this journey? Can I remember what the lay of the land is? Are there any major rivers or lakes or mountain features? Anything I should avoid, like swamp? Or should I head to the coast? Is there anything at the coast? And all of this helps you make a plan for survival. That plan being, should I stay where I am? Or should I move to self-rescue or find help? And that's a really tough call to make, because often people search and rescue will be looking for an aeroplane or a boat or a car, and it's easier to find a car on a road than it is to find 4 people walking through the jungle, you know, with very limited resources. So we always really teach, unless you're absolutely desperate, you should stay with the wreckage of the aeroplane or the boat or the car and work around that. But like Lofty Wiseman used to say, after about 3 weeks and nobody's coming to rescue you, you need to think about at least moving a short distance to find better water and more food and more firewood. And also medical, it's now put on the end of this, even though medical is a number 1 priority, is saving lives, 3 minutes without oxygen, doing CPR, mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. It's kept separate because medical is such a broad subject now in terms of trauma medic, response. It might just be simple as slapping on a dressing over a cut, or you might have a complicated fracture, an open wound, which is going to need more response and treatment. If you've got a spinal injury, that immediately puts a person, and I think about a P1 scenario where they need medical attention within about 2 hours maximum, you know, because they can go into spinal shock and what have you. It also definitely controls whether or not you walk out or not. You cannot carry somebody with a spinal injury for 2 weeks through the bush because they're going to die. And therefore, it also puts a huge amount of pressure on leadership and commanding decisions. Should we stay, should we go, and what resources have we got?
Yeah.
So all of these put you under more pressure, but they also help you decide in your plan whether you're going to stay or go, or how you're going to attract attention, etc. So to keep it simple, plan M is very easy to remember, and it's very workable under any climatic environment as well. Arctic, desert, jungle, savanna, temperate mountains, the jungles of Indonesia, which 1 minute you can be perfectly warm, and yet within 10 minutes of being in a downpour here, you're freezing cold and going down with exposure. So it helps you not just plan how you respond to a survival situation, but what equipment you need to help you through that survival equipment. Just one thing, many people come on survival training courses and they love learning how to build shelters and light fires. Nobody's interested in signaling. They've made one fire, but they don't want to make 3 for a fire triangle because it's a lot of extra work. But in a real survival situation, your priority is to be found and rescued. Training is fun. Survival situations are not, and you want to be rescued as quickly as you can. So remember location. You want to attract people in to help you, and then be rescued.
Because the cara paling cepat untuk keluar dari situasi travel, the most fastest way to get out from the situation, is to get rescued, to get help from others.
And you can only claim to be a survivor if you've been rescued. If you haven't been rescued, you're still surviving.
Surviving, not survival. Jadi ini ada satu penjelasan menarik nih dari Mr. Corin. Kita baru disebut survivor kalau kita sudah diselamatkan, sudah di rescue. Jadi kalau belum itu masih dalam keadaan surviving, masih disebut korban, korban hilang. Itu ya teman-teman. Nah, menurut penjelasan dari Mr. Corin tadi cukup jelas ya. Jadi plan M ini membantu kita untuk mengingat prioritas apa saja yang dilakukan. Protection, kita harus menghindari dari bahaya yang langsung seperti tenggelam, hewan buas, atau mungkin tanah longsor dan sebagainya yang mengancam kita langsung. Kemudian harus bisa membuat shelter, perlindungan dari elemen dingin dan panas. Kemudian harus bisa apalagi melakukan membuat api, creating fire Jadi api ini sangat penting. Kemampuan membuat api dengan berbagai macam cara itu sangat penting Kemudian kita masuk ke location, tadi mengenai lokasi, kita harus mengingat di mana kita berada, terakhir berada, menghitung sudah berapa lama kita berjalan dan sebagainya Kemudian juga acquisition itu mengenai sumber daya yang kita punya, kita harus mendatanya dan bagaimana menggunakannya, atau bagaimana harus berimprovisasi mungkin dengan apa barang-barang yang ada di pasar pesawat, ada di mobil dan sebagainya. Kemudian juga mengenai navigasi. Ini berkaitan dengan waktu dan jarak kita sudah berjalan berapa lama, kita menentukan arah dan sebagainya. Nah, kita harus tahu cara menentukan arah. Kalau punya kompas enak, kalau tidak bagaimana? Kemudian medical ini juga terpisah. Kenapa? Karena medical ini juga ada berbagai macam hal yang harus diperhatikan, terutama untuk masalah-masalah seperti fraktur, cedera-cedera yang berbahaya dan sebagainya, perlu penanganan khusus. Nah, dari dasar inilah kita menentukan kita mau stay ataupun tidak, atau berjalan, moving Itu teman-teman. Itu penjelasan dari Mr. Corin. Kalau belum jelas atau ada pertanyaan, teman-teman bisa tulis di komentar, saya akan bantu jawab. Teman-teman, kalau teman-teman merasa ini video bermanfaat buat teman-teman, teman-teman bisa bantu subscribe channel ini, channel Coach Mike dan share dan kasih like jangan lupa dengan subscribe itu gratis, dan jangan lupa pencet loncengnya untuk mendapatkan informasi begitu saya mengupload video yang terbaru. Terima kasih teman-teman, sampai ketemu di video selanjutnya.